All right, let's talk about some technology. All right, so AI. Can AI be something that's used to deny insurance claims? Well, guess what? We're kind of here. It's sort of happening.
Yeah, for
So a Florida State Senate committee is considering a bill, State Bill 794, introduced by Senator Bradley, which would prevent insurance companies from using artificial intelligence to deny claims. The bill mandates that all claim denials must be reviewed by a qualified human professional, such as a claims manager or licensed adjuster. This legislation aims to ensure that decisions are made by humans rather than AI, addressing concerns over fairness in claims denials. So, I actually like this bill. This is actually protecting the industry by having a real person, who's qualified, who understands it. I'm not saying that obviously I love AI and technology, to some degree, but again, for something like this, especially with how new AI is, into life as we know it, I'm still not in favor of AI just having carte blanche authority of approval or rejections when it comes to claims or anything. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
Well, my initial thoughts is, somebody obviously had to build the AI, they had to program it, which it is a human. So I can see kickback being, well, it is a human technically that is, it's doing it. It's just AI operated or whatnot. And so I can see that being a kickback. But we're going to a place where most of this stuff is going to be AI. It's just going to be. It's going to be cheaper. It's going to be easier to manage. It's going to be, here's a switch, cut them on, cut them off. I think we have to prepare for this and so much more to come with AI and technology. And so one of the ways I'm thinking, so how do we combat this now? Like, how do we, even if this bill passes in the States, it's going to come to a place where another bill is going to be passed, and AI is going to I'm not saying they're going to rule the world. I'm not some AI guy, but it's like it's just here. So how do we navigate that as business owners in general?
I got a different thought, and I'll even ask you guys a question. So, I have no love for insurance companies, right? Like that's. You guys know that, right?
Yeah,
I've gotten that impression.
We've got a little hint here and there.
I think you kind of get maybe a hint. I have no love lost for friggin' insurance companies. But here's the deal. Do I also not love more government oversight in my business?
Oh, yeah, that's good.
So, if they're going to use AI to deny claims, then people should be educated. People should be smart on what to do if your claim gets denied. So in some respect, I could care less if AI wants to deny my, they're going to use technology to deny my claim. If they want to deny my claim, I don't care if it's going to be a human reviewing the policy or AI reviewing the policy. They're going to deny the claim. They're going to program anybody that touches that claim to deny it if that's what they want to do.
Yeah, bro.
And it starts with the adjuster. It starts with whatever. So to me, this is, I don't know. So maybe it's important. I don't know. I don't see the relevance in it. I see it just as more oversight that doesn't need to happen because they'll find a way to deny it, and then you're going to have to go figure out what to do from there. And, people need to be educated from that standpoint. That's kind of how, how do you guys think?
All right, since you're asking, let me give you my take. So I'm going to relate this to censorship, where, especially during COVID, if you said something in a video, you posted on YouTube, it wasn't a human that was flagging it. It was like their AI software. So if you said something where, if you even questioned the validity, if this was something that was released intentionally, or if you said something about getting a shot or whatever, the algorithm, basically your videos were, every time you post something, everything is going through something and getting filtered. Yeah. And they were getting, flagged and taken and removed. And it wasn't a human. It was like the software that was doing it. And the process of trying to file a claim or whatever that process is to, try to appeal would go nowhere. So if AI, just the way it generally works, if AI is denying claims, it's probably going to go into this large, section of a database that will probably be almost impossible or just extremely hard to go through a appeal process of whether. So that's my main concern, because you already see it. You see it in censorship, like the example that I gave. So that's my fear, is if we let technology do all this, then we're going to lose all of our voices. Yeah. And if we lose our voice, this world's going to change. It's already changing rapidly, but man, that's one thing that we just cannot, let get taken away from us.
Well, this particular article was also written with a slant and an agenda associated with it, and that started with the title. If it, insurance companies use AI to review claims, that tells an entirely different story. So so what we know is the human beings that are claimed to review, that are trained to review claims, right? We know, they're not going to admit it, but we know that it's, 7 out of 10. It's deny right off the jump. That's just the way it goes. You see it inside of the VA. You see the technology used inside of larger corporations where they're hiring lots of people. In order for your resume to get from here to there, it is programmed with certain metrics to be able to move you along. So if the platform is being built to make things faster, use it in such a way to where it keeps the standard. Because if you're going to, at least if you're going to deny me every time, if it's consistent.
Right.
Because we see, you're being denied for this. Well, that doesn't make sense. So if we can make it standard, and this is the process and the policies in which we are going to follow, then I think it does make it easier to combat, because there's a standardized system in place. Because right now, there's 100 humans doing it 100 different ways, because they came into the industry in different decades. Yeah. So the way we did it back then is still the way that I do it. It may not be the way that you're supposed to be doing it today.
Well, and here's the thing, though, that can AI, if you can program AI to read it, understand it, and deny it, then they can also program it to read it, understand it, and approve it, or move it to then the next step of approval or whatever. So are we dealing with an epidemic that we don't know about, of just everything's now touched by AI and it's already denying all these claims? Is that what this bill is intended for? I don't know the purpose of why he's coming out with this, just as general as how he wrote it, compared to if they're using AI to read certain things and then pass it to the right person or the next steps, then I got no problem with that. I mean, we're probably moving in that direction ourselves, of things that we need to have AI pre-checking and looking at and whatever. So it still has to be programmed by somebody before it understands what to go do.
Right. If an individual files a flood claim, right, and they don't have flood insurance, and the algorithm, the AI, reads that and it's denied because they don't have coverage for that, that makes perfect sense. And that's what it's designed to do. It's not going to be designed to approve someone for coverage in which they do not have.
Right.
Right. Now, we know that there are so many different aspects of a property loss claim, from pipes breaking, house floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, a car, right? Who has car driving into your living room coverage? Right? That falls under the all other perils. And that is always going to take an individual reviewing the circumstances that's involved, what happened, and then go from there. Yeah. Right? Because I want to say it's subjective, because it shouldn't be subjective, but an algorithm can't be programmed to review all of those other nuances that could happen in the process of an insurance loss.
Yeah, well, I feel like that's what this article is alluding to, that to protect us from that. And, just with the lack of understanding how software could have that ability to make the right decision, I don't want that decision to be placed in software's hands. Sure. Right? I would rather a human. Now, could this change in years if they approve it? I think that there should be, when something like this is introduced, if carriers are going to do it, I feel like there needs to be some transparency and openness of beta testing, and this is how it's going to work. So then, when you're deciding if I want to go with, insurance carrier A, and I know that their process of, if I do unfortunately have to deal with a claim, that I know if I'm deciding to choose them when I sign up and write this big check to have home insurance, if this is their process. Sure. So I just would like transparency, openness on how it's going to work, versus just tomorrow it's fully implemented and now we got to deal with this, and it just totally ruins the system, the industry, and causes a lot more damage to the homeowners on top of the damage that just happened to their property.
Yeah. Well, was it President Ronald Reagan that said, if you hear the phrase, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help you," then you should be scared? Right? Because we find ourselves caught up in that train of thought, because Scott just said it. but I know how he feels and believes about his, private property rights, personal rights, the Constitution. But it still is in our vernacular to say they just want to help.
Yeah. If it's
They
so
want to
wrong,
keep
it's
me
just gonna help
safe from
me.
the
Right.
Terminator.
If that is the line.
I can get behind that because I've seen all the documentaries. Right, the robots take over. I've seen them. That's the thing that happens is we want them to help us or protect us. And then when it's on the other side, one of the first articles we were talking about, we don't want the government involved in door-to-door sales.
Right.
But I want them involved in the AI, keeping me safe from it. We can't have both.
Yeah. Right.
Right?
Right.
And if they were trustworthy, morally upright individuals that I knew that they had the citizens' best interest in mind, I can disagree with you. But your track record of transparency and accountability, and I can disagree with you, but you still are trying to do the right thing, okay, I can deal with that. But I think over the course of the last 30, 40 years, we've just seen so much
Yeah.
of
there's no
the
way to-
interest is not, but everything is pushed. I'm here to help you. Stay at home. Everybody's got a cold. We got to keep you safe. But go to Home Depot and spend money.
Right.
Like you're protected from COVID in Home Depot, but church or school, you're not safe there.
Right.
Right? So are you really trying to keep us safe or are you just trying to control?
100%.
What's the agenda?